To a Sky-Lark by Percy Shelley.
Hail to thee, blithe spirit, bird thou never were, that from heaven or near it, pourest thy full heart in profuse strains of unpremeditated art. Higher, still higher, from the earth thou springest, like a cloud of fire, the deep blue thou wingest, and singest still dost soar, and soaring ever singest, in golden lightning of the sunken sun, over which clouds are brightening. Thou dost float and run, like an unbodied joy whose race is just begun. The pale purple even melts around thy flight, like a star of heaven in broad daylight. Thou art unseen, but yet I hear thy shrill delight, keen as are the arrows of that silver sphere, whose intense lamp narrows in the white dawn clear, until we hardly see, we feel that it is there. All the earth and air, with thy voices loud, as when night is bare from one lonely cloud, the moon rains out her beams, and heaven is overflowed.
What thou art we know not, what is most like thee? From rainbow clouds there flow not drops so bright to see, as from thy presence showers a rain of melody. Like a poet hidden in the light of thought, singing hymns unbidden till the world is wrought. To sympathy with hopes and fears it heeded not. Like a high-born maiden in a palace tower, soothing her love-laden soul in secret hour, with music sweet as love which overflows her bower. Like a glowworm golden in a dell of dew, scattering unbeholden its aerial hue among the flowers and grass which screen it from the view.
Like a rose embowered in its own green leaves, by warm winds deflowered, till the scent it gives makes faint with too much sweet those heavy-winged thieves. Sound of vernal showers on the twinkling grass, rain-awakened flowers, all that ever was, joyous and clear and fresh, thy music doth surpass. Teach us, sprite or bird, what sweet thoughts are thine. I have never heard praise of love or wine that panted forth the flood of rapture so divine. Chorus hymeneal or triumphal chaunt, matched with thine would be all but an empty vaunt, a thing wherein we feel there is some hidden want.
What objects are the fountains of thy happy strain? What fields or waves or mountains? What shapes of sky or plain? What love of thine own kind? What ignorance of pain? With thy clear, keen joyance languor cannot be. Shadow of annoyance never came near thee. Thou lovest, but ne'er knew love's sad satiety. Waking or asleep, thou of death must deem things more true and deep than we mortals dream. Or how could thy notes flow in such a crystal stream? We look before and after, and pine for what is not. Our sincerest laughter with some pain is fraught. Our sweetest songs are those that tell of saddest thought. Yet if we scorn hate and pride and fear, if things were born not to shed a tear, I know not how thy joy we should ever come near. Better than all measures of delight sound, better than all treasures that in books are found. Thy skill to poet were, thou scorner of the ground. Teach me half the gladness that thy brain must know. Such harmonious madness from my lips would flow, the world should listen then, as I am listening now.
So, it starts off with Hail to thee, blithe spirits, and it continues in, or bird thou never were, from heaven near it, pourest thy full heart profuse strain. It's basically saying, he's saying hello to this bird that is singing in abundance, and just or letting everybody hear its beautiful song. And then he goes in that how the bird is higher, still higher, and singing still doth soar and soar. It's continuing with the idea that the bird is really high up in the sky, singing, always.
Nathan, weren't you saying earlier that that's allusion to the Bible, the part where it says like a cloud of fire?
Right, yeah. The cloud of fire is in Exodus, the second book of the Bible, when the Egyptians when the Israelites are being freed from Egypt, God guides them with the cloud of fire in the nighttime.
So is it kind of like the bird is guiding, like when it goes back to my part, it's saying that the world is wrought, and so it's kind of going like the bird singing about love is taking it away from the being.
Right, yeah. That could definitely be seen as that. Continue, Stephen.
Okay. Then it goes for the third stanza. It's golden lightning of the sunken sun. Clouds are brightening, float and run like an unbodied joy. And then it goes into pale purple even melts around thy flight. In the broad daylight thou art unseen, but I still hear thy shrill delight. And both of those, it's basically saying that both in the golden lightning of the sunken sun, so that'd be like sunset or sunrise when the sun's really low over on the horizon, the pale evening and raw daylights, all throughout the day, you could hear this bird singing everywhere. And then it's for the fifth stanza, keen as are the arrows of that silver spear, whose intense lamp narrows in the white dawn clear, till we hardly see, we feel that it is there. All the earth and air with their voices loud, as when night is bare from one lonely cloud, the moon rains out her beams and heaven is overflowed. So even past when the sun has set and it's now nighttime, they can't see this bird at all. They can still hear the music of the bird everywhere. It's just, the beauty of this bird's voice is always there, even though you can't see it.
Okay. So mine starts with, it's questioning like what the bird is, and it's kind of like, since the bird is singing so beautifully and so loud and it's about love, we're questioning how is this bird singing so loud, and then it gets into like, oh, well, it's because humans know more emotions than just love. They know hatred and anger and jealousy, and that is like clouding their minds from what true love is. And then it says, from rainbow clouds there flow not drops so bright to see. So it's like, first there's like a little note that says the Sky-Lark, it's a bird that flies really high, and so you can't like see it when it's flying, and it only sings when it flies. And so it's saying that you can't see anything as clearly as you can hear its beautiful sound. And then the rainbow clouds, it's just like, the rainbow clouds aren't even as pretty as the song is. And then it says, like a poet hidden in the light of thought. And so that's like, it's like when a poet is writing, like their minds are so focused on what they're writing that they can't see anything else. So maybe it's like the bird is so high up that they can't, that it's not even like realizing what everything else is. But then it goes and says, till the world is wrought to sympathy with hopes and fears that he did not. And so that's like the bird with its love song is like teaching humans who are so filled in their own rotten world that's all anger and hatred. It's teaching them how to sympathize, and so it's like bringing them back into the goodness of the world. And then it goes into like a highborn maiden. So that's kind of like in a tower, in a palace tower, and they're like some soothing and her love laden. So she's got a heavy heart, so she's singing like a song of heavy-heartedness, so like a sad love song, while the bird is singing something really beautiful. And it's going back to how the bird doesn't know, have like a heavy heart. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
The bird only knows love. It doesn't know the
Right.
sadness and the rest. So it can
Right.
just project its love, but that's all it knows, that much louder.
and then it goes on to the glowworm, and that's you can see the light of the glowworm, but you can't exactly see like where it is. So that's kind of like, you can hear the song of the Sky-Lark, but you don't know where it is.
Okay, well, in the next section, he's basically reiterating the idea that there's nothing more beautiful than the bird. So in this stanza, like a rose embowered in its own green leaves, by warm winds deflowered, till the scent it gives makes faint with too much sweet those heavy winged thieves. It's basically an analogy where the flower, it's embowered in its leaves, so it hasn't bloomed yet, so you can't see the beauty, and that's kind of like the Sky-Lark up in the sky. You can't actually see it, but the flower is given scent by the wind, and that's similar to how the bird, while you can't see it, you can still appreciate its beauty through its sound. And then in the following stanza, he compares the bird to spring, and he says that springtime is known to be this beautiful time of year, and he basically describes the bird as surpassing that in beauty as well. And then he continues to compare the bird to man-made things such as and ideas such as God and love and wine, and even then the beauty of the bird still surpasses all of those things. So he's basically saying that nothing is more beautiful than like nature. Human-made things aren't. They don't have the same beauty that nature does because they're human. They're ideas made. They're simple ideas instead. And then there's a tone shift.
Right, and then immediately following, like at the beginning of this shift of the poem, he's asking questions. He's basically talking to the Sky-Lark, right? What objects are the fountains of thy happy string? Basically, he's asking the bird, why are you so happy? Like, how are you so good? Why do you have so much love in your heart? And then the last segment of the last line of that stanza, what ignorance of pain? Like, asking the bird how it doesn't feel these negative things, right? And then moving on into the last page of the poem that we have here, it goes on to describe more throughout this. Just the bird feels only these positive things. The bird has no concept of hate, pride, or fear, as he says. But not only that, the fact that humans feel both what this bird feels and feel these negative things, he says, makes humans almost higher than the bird, right? They can experience what true love is, because love is not without hate, pride, and fear. There's no ultimate good without an equal and opposite evil, right? But then, in the very last stanza, he says, teach me half the gladness that thy brain must know, which, hearing that makes me want to go back to the first section that we talked about earlier, the cloud of fire, and how God was guiding the Israelites in the book of Exodus there, guiding them to the promised land, guiding them to something good. Just as the bird here, according to the poet, to the speaker, is almost guiding humans to this goodness. But the humans, while seeing that, know more. The humans know that that's not all there is, that there is this equal and opposite evil, but still he wants to be like this bird in its own world, experiencing only good.
So the bird kind of represents like innocence, while humans are more experienced.
Right.
And you're saying there's a trade-off between the two. As in experience, you experience hardship, but in innocence, you only know the good things.
Which inherently makes the good things less.
So you think that
It's actually, in his line, he even mentions madness. Like, knowing only the good to such an extent as this bird is just harmonious madness. It's not true love. It's just, it's closer to insanity through joy than it is to true love.
However, that's what he desires. That's what the poet desires. Because he does say harmonious madness, but he says such harmonious madness from my lips would flow. The world should then listen. As I'm listening now, as he's listening to the bird, as he's listening to its harmonious madness of there being only good in the world, even though there's not, but he wishes that he could convey such happiness through his works.
And you say madness can be contagious.
Yeah.
One of the good kinds to catch, I guess.
So then getting to central idea, I would say that the central idea is that there is, here, let me formulate this in my mind for a second. The world consists of good and evil, and though we may want there to be only good, the fact that there is evil bolsters
so that there can be
good, a true good. That's what I think the
and
author
it's kind of like, because the bird only knows good and doesn't know evil, that it doesn't actually know good.
Right.
I always thought that I guess from reading the second tone shift, I mainly took from it the whole idea of beauty and how human nature is like not as good as nature. But now that you're talking about that, I kind of agree with you. I would say that although the bird is so beautiful, it's kind of like you don't realize how good something is until you've experienced worse. So the bird is only so beautiful because he, as a human, has experienced all these different terrible things or hardships.
It's a really interesting take. Like that, John.
And for mine, I had actually gone in a different direction where for me it was more so the bird has its own method of being pure. The innocence of the bird is what brings the most absolute beauty, but you can't appreciate it without having or incorruption. So my idea was just the more so or the most beautiful things are always the most pure, I guess you could say. Purity brings beauty, but you can't appreciate beauty while you're being pure. Yeah, I guess you could say in a sense.
Yeah. I catch your drift.
Well, I think mine was more just about how the skylark is a bird that is hidden, but the skylark is also hidden from evil.
Basically to the promised land. And
So it's like the birds guiding the humans to what true joy can be.
right.
Happy birthday.
Walk away.
Bye, Blake.
Thank you, Blake. Actually, it just made it on me. So.
Ciao.
Okay.
There's a camera right there.
Oh my lord.
I can't.
All right.
Can we leave this point?
Wait, I don't. Yes. All right.
I'm pretty sure
okay.
we're gonna have more than enough time.
So I'm just gonna backtrack what I was saying.
We'll throw it in the end.
Do you need assistance?
Wait, I don't know how to say that word. Can we cut it?
Action.
2.